What's going on, everybody? ApologyMan here, and me and Lord Knight are going to be talking about our experience at CEO, which was the first major tournament for Guilty Gear Strive on the new patch. And we're just going to be talking about our first impressions of how the patch has affected the competitive landscape, like how we felt about playing all the new matchups and stuff, and just like overall how our tournament went. Yeah, what did you think? Okay, how was your CEO?
I mean, CEO was good. It's the first time in a long time, actually. Outside of like special events, that I've only played exclusive Amelia the whole time. It felt pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely want to start this with like how after the tournament ended, right? One thing people were saying were like, "Oh wow, amazing season two changes." It's as if the game is not different at all, right? And the place where I want to start is like you gotta put some respect on some of these people's names. Like, yes,
Yeah,
they're playing amazing characters, but yes, they're also amazing players.
they were always
Uh,
good.
yeah. Like you can't really just say it's the character when they're always performing that well. And I think one really good sign of that is the spread of characters, not just in top eight, because there were a couple of outliers, like a certain guy who enjoys energy drinks now, along with warm milk. But also top 24, right? Where they almost, I don't think all the characters were represented, but almost all the characters were represented in top
Hmm
24.
hmm
The game with, any game with more than 10 characters is gonna, there's some characters that won't appear in top eight, right? Like it's just destiny. It's just destiny, I would say. So I think at least for the short term, because it is the beginning of this patch, and based on what we went through before, I would say to not expect major changes again until like October or November. So far, so good. If the mission is just to see moves that people don't use get used and more characters being played in the tournament, especially later in the tournament, then from my perspective, I mean, I think they hit it. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, no, I think that's a success too. And like, yeah, I think once again, a big part of why maybe you'll see the same people is like outside of them just being amazing players, obviously they're going to continue to be amazing players. Is they are usually playing characters I think that didn't change that much. I thought that was not the case for Leo, but the more I watched Leo like throughout the weekend, I was like, huh, this is pretty similar. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe some combos are a little bit different, but overall, like mostly the same game plan. Ram and Leo, like the Super Noon, Solstice, K7, Razzo, like they were all present in top eight, and those are people we see often in the past. But I think it's because like they were just comfortable. Like those characters didn't like their overall neutral like didn't change that much. Like they kind of are doing the same stuff. I'd say Nago actually changed maybe more in neutral than those characters, but Otashi like he grinded a bunch, and yeah, it makes sense that he like put in a lot of work. He took me off guard really hard with some of the new stuff. Like I hadn't actually fought against the new Nago that much, and it definitely showed as you could tell. I thought the patch was like overall a success. Like I think in the top 24 there's some gold Lewis players, which was really cool. There's like two gold Lewises in there. I don't think we saw any Vikings.
Yeah, no biking, no biking.
Yeah, I think that was the character I was expecting to see the most. But we saw a Jacko player in there. Shout outs to Nitro. He put in a lot of work. He was able to beat Kizzy that weekend. And yeah, I think there was like a pretty good spread
I think so
overall
too.
of characters that weekend. It was good. It was
Mhm,
good.
mhm. The way that I would put this, right, is if you're gonna think about what's gonna happen to the meta after season two, this is of course the first big event after season two. The way I've been looking at it so far is I don't really think any characters that were good are taken out of the conversation. I think
Hmm
what is going to happen is that more characters are put into the conversation
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
because
totally.
the discussion is tournament relevancy, right? Because again, a lot of people are kind of like, like I don't like how you make your tier list, but in my head, there's S minus. Those S minus characters, like your Geos of the world and Zatos of the world, those are like your tournament relevant. Like you can do it. You can do it solo. You can do
hmm
it. No, don't have to really worry about bad matchups. Like you have like everyone every now and then. You just play through that and you go. And I think that door is definitely going to be more open than before. We of course we got to see how the game is going so far. But when you consider like what are characters' weakness in the game, like why were characters not relevant for tournaments? And again, relevancy in tournaments is just like deep in the path, don't need a counter pick, getting like top 3, top 4 type things. It's usually issues with like conversion or like not getting things consistently. And they fixed that like with a lot of characters. I mean, frankly, if you look at both of our characters, like
Yeah, for our characters.
yeah, like Faust had a lot of strengths, but since he could not convert very well, he couldn't capitalize off his winning situations that well. Right, that's probably like a good way of summarizing it.
Yeah,
Amelia is really similar to that too. Like Amelia, by the way, chronic down player LK here. By the way, amazing, like good, literally good moveset, but you just can't combo off some stuff, so people don't care about getting hit. Down player, by the way, right? But they went further than I thought with some things, and they changed some things I weren't expecting them to change. A good example is like I played a long set against a pretty strong Leo who plays I think he plays a lot of online tournaments. MFCR, you recommended him to me.
MFCR, yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Normally the Durag is on tight for Leo. That was the plan, but I played him in a long set with Amelia, and I was like, wow, like Amelia can really, like, Leo is still Leo, and when I get into Leo position, you know, I'm still human, but there's like so much more threat that my opponent has to worry about now. He can't just 5p anti-air me XN. He can't with 5p and then do 6p. If I capo, I get a combo to knock down his set play. He can't DPRC any of my setups. Like,
oh, that's huge.
Yeah. There's a laundry list of things I could do now that I couldn't do. He's easier to combo now than he used to be in multiple ways. There's a huge list of stuff that I could do in that matchup now. And Amelia's 2K is bigger, and Far Slash is bigger, and 5H is disjoint now, along with Air Normal's being disjoint now. So it's like there's a huge list of stuff to help with the problems in that match. Where like that match, I used to consider that matchup like dead end, like I have to pick something else type of thing. So I'm really looking forward to how the game evolves. I will say that people should definitely be prepared for it to close, like the box to close, as people build stuff. And I don't think I shouldn't say any of the existing, because if you include like S and S minus characters, it's probably like around 8 or 9 characters. So I think like, like the HC Ram, honestly even Leo, and Nago are like here to stay,
Yeah.
But
so.
you might have to think of like some of the S minus characters, like they might move up or they might move down. We don't know. And there's new people in that discussion too. I think that's how I feel.
For sure. For me personally, like I felt like the buffs that I felt the most were my 5p buff. There's a lot of changes that Faust got. Like I could go laundry list, like disjoint on far S tip, like lower recovery. Scalpel pull has a disjoint at the end. Like there's a long list of stuff, but like if I had to pick like one change that I felt the most throughout the weekend, was definitely off of Faust 5p. I can convert like 5p, 6p tornado, and like get some like half screen corner carry, and like hit Faust 5p is so good. Like it goes super far, and it's like really, it's a 5-frame button and it comes out fast. So it's like I think like having that threat, like it completely changed my ground game risk reward totally. I felt it so much. I feel like so many other times players will be like, oh, let me just dash walk, and I'm dash walk. I'm just like, what if I boop, 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 and then all of a sudden it matters, and like I felt that a bunch. And the mini Faust change I felt a bunch too. Whenever I throw mini Faust now, he like stomps on the floor, and then he jumps out afterwards. It like I got so many command grabs there, because if I go for strike throw there, it's safe. Like if they jump, they block mini Faust in the air. If I backdash, it's safe. Like it punishes backdash at like a certain fuzzy timing too, and then I just call after. It's so good. Like it's super duper good. And I was feeling the buffs, man. It felt good. I felt quite powerful. after I made top 8, I was feeling myself. I can't lie. I can't lie. I got off. I was like, y'all never should have gave me this. I was feeling pretty good. But yeah, if there's like one buff that you felt the most, just like one buff, what do you think it was? Because from my perspective, I felt like it was Capel, but I don't know. Maybe you disagree.
I don't know how you feel about Faust in particular, but I think Amelia got buffs and changes. This was like my worry, and I didn't know how to use like a lot of the changes. I still think I could get better at using some of the changes. So a good example is like, oh, Turbo Fall has less recovery. So like, what does that mean? I mean, it has less recovery, cool, but it's like, where do you apply this thing? And like, there's a couple of things I found with it that you could do, mostly combo stuff that you can do with it.
Okay.
If I had to think of changes that I felt the most, I mean, the number one has to be Capel. It has to has to be
for
Capel.
sure. Yeah.
It opens, the more I use it, it opens like so much for her game. And so it's a huge list of actually what this change means for her.
Dude, yeah. Just watching you that weekend, I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting it everywhere.
So that's like the obvious one that everyone can use. So the secret change that benefits Amelia the most, that I felt the most, it's actually Fast RC.
Oh, true.
Yeah. If you watch me play that weekend, if you watch me play in tournament,
Fast RC haircut,
Fast RC, Bad Moon Fast RC, and Haircore Fast RC.
Yeah.
The two of them. I think it's a really major change. I think it was like last patch where the previous patch I also felt one of the biggest changes that helped her the most was a system change. So like it happened again. But that thing is like really huge. It helped. I mean, frankly, it won sets and games and stuff. Like not like a lot. Like Capel helps a ton in a really direct way. If you're playing Melia, you obviously feel it, and a lot of people have been complaining about it. They're like, "Oh, I can't anti-air Melia." I'm like, "Welcome to Guilty Gear, buddy." But the Fast RC change that's probably like the secret. Like, oh my god, this is so good. Like it just helps like so much stuff meter wise, because I don't know about Faust, but Melia is awful at building meter, like really bad at building meter. So the Fast RC change just is like a godsend, frankly, because it's like I just have so much more meter to play with than normal.
Yeah, no, and that's so big for her.
Yeah,
honestly.
and she really needed that help.
More times you can TK Bad Moon, more times you can do your Septum super. Like
it's not even that stuff. Like you do that stuff regardless. It's just like you just have more meat. You can do more stuff. Not even YRC. Like you could BRC threaten way more often.
Yeah,
you have more opportunities to use. You just have more opportunities to use meter. Where like traditionally Melia, depending on the version of the game, you might be like, oh, I might use meter like once or twice for the entire round. So like when I use meter is like one of the most important things of the whole round. Where now I'm just like, oh well, got 15. Woo! That's RC,
dude,
baby.
and when she gets positive bonus too, like
we don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
We don't talk about that.
Man, speaking of positive bonus, actually, I fought against like who did I fight? Or I saw Marvello play a little bit, and he did the new positive bonus to like Rekka, Fast RC, Rekka, Fast RC. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like I think that was one thing that people were getting better at. I saw Solstice do it as well, like the new Fast RC, like post wall break, like basically max risk block string that you can do, and then like do a 50-50 and kill them. That was scary. Like I could see that like being more and more common. It was week 2, right? So I don't think we saw it as often in the tournament, but it's huge. I think a lot of the players are feeling that change a lot for Fast RC.
If there was something to like kind of close my thoughts about season 2 after this first big tournament, because we're seeing what everyone's doing, it would be positive bonus, but in particular there's like 2 things you have to think about. One is the obvious one, what we saw, right? We saw Solstice do it, we saw Marvello do it, as you said, we saw Hotashi do it. It's like the infinite block string and positive bonus where you can't push them away. You crank their wrist to like 100%, you do like whatever your mix-up is going to be, right? So obviously that's really threatening. There is counterplay, but there's not a lot. Now the thing about that is not a lot of characters can do that, and what will probably kind of piss people off is that it's mostly established characters that can do that. But you have to remember there are characters like Zato who've been doing this, who've been memeing us in positive since like last year anyway, so whatever. Newcomer Anji has one. If you want somebody who is not an established character, Anji has one, right? But there's much more quiet. So like for example, Milia, she has one of those strings, but it's not good. It's actually pretty bad. Like you like FD them and stuff. With meter plus mix-up tools and Fast RC, it's kind of, instead of infinite block string, you kind of just never stop mixing them. Basically, you just keep on trying until
I saw you do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It actually came up in tournament one round. I think it happened on stream too, and people, the crowd was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I got it in tournament. It's been a while. I think not since Dragon Ball. I got like the crowd like being like ugh, you know.
And you're just like,
and I don't know how many characters will have that style of thing. I definitely think it's a little bit more subtle, but something to keep in mind. And definitely, it's going to be important to the game because it just increases the threat of what happens when you break the wall. You know what I mean? It really, really, really increases the threat. Like, because a lot of times, you know, what do we always say about Zato, right? Zato breaks the wall of game, right? So there's going to be more characters that have that this time. And I think it's going to be definitely a really major factor of risk return is like what happens to you when they break the wall.
Yeah, and I think that's cool for characters like Milia and Chip. Like, I think sometimes those characters that they would hit characters and it's like, oh, I don't care, whatever. Now when they break the wall, you're like, oh no, please have mercy.
I think Chip always had something like this before, to be honest. I think he always had one because I know Ram always had one too. Now it's just like different.
Yeah, but Chip's I believe his like overhead wasn't as fast, so like it wasn't like.
I mean,
now
6K,
that like
6K.
Yeah. So like you built up the risk for like 6K eventually, and then like at max risk, and that was pretty scary. But yeah. Now it's like even more scary. Like I'm having I can't really block the third Rekka. Maybe I'll get better at it over time, but it's pretty terrifying, honestly.
All right, let us know what you guys think. How are you feeling about season 2 so far? The next big tournament is gonna be Evo, so we'll get a nice good update of what's going on with the characters. As usual, like and subscribe if you guys feel like it, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.